Schoolgirls linked to Gert van Rooyen at the property that belonged to him in the 1980s. The house was demolished in the 1990s when police dug up the property to look for clues relating to the missing girls after one of his victims managed to escape from the house. The property now belongs to the South African Police Service. This month, the girls will be missing for 30 years. Two of the mothers will attend the launch. The foot and mouth painters painted 6 flowers which have been printed on vinyl. The paintings will go up on the wall on the property. They hope to present the original paintings to each of the mothers. SABC News reporter Patricia Visagie is live from there. Patricia, a very good morning. Please just give us context once again in terms of the story.
Good morning, Desiree, and to our viewers. Now I'm standing right in the street, Malherbe Street in Capital Park in the heart of Pretoria. Now it's a street that became very famous in, of course, the early 90s as, attention was, of course, given as the news broke of the then what is now known as a pedophile Gert van Rooyen and his fiancée at the time, Joey Harthoff, who of course involved with the disappearance of about 6 little girls at the time, very young, I must say, some of them being between the ages of, I think, 10 years and about 13 at the time. And it's been 30 years on, 3 decades, and we still don't know what happened to these children. Now, just behind me, there you can see, of course, that wall that will be unveiled just shortly. And this is the house at the time, right here. If, Wayne can just give you a glimpse of the house that became the focus point of the police investigations at the time as they were trying to find out what happened to those 6 girls who just went missing as if they never even existed. And their parents, the police, and a lot of South Africans who took keen interest in the matter at the time are still grappling to come to terms with what exactly happened. And of course the investigations still continuing as police and private investigators are still trying to put all the pieces together. Now you would remember that Gert van Rooyen and his fiancée, they died since the investigations at the time, following a high-speed chase with the police in the area, and it's alleged that they committed suicide and of course taking so many information, so many of the secrets to their grave. But still, that does not mean that the families involved in this matter, who still search tirelessly for their children, it doesn't mean that they at that time got closure. And it is on that backdrop that we are gathered here as some of the community members, the investigative teams, the police, and the parents are gathered here to remember these 6 little girls. So let's speak to the investigator. He is now a private investigator. At the time, he was part of the police service when they were actually investigating this matter. And this is Mr. Don Chandler. It's been 30 years, a long time. You actually have the memory, the blueprint of this case. You started with it and you've never given up. And behind you is the house that I think serves as a haunting symbol to many South Africans.
Morning. I think that's true what you've said there. I believe the police did everything they could in this matter up to a certain extent. At the moment, we're a group of private detectives and a group of ladies that are wonderfully helping me with all my tracing. We're privately funded. I just want to get it on record with you. Yes, but there is new information and there is old information that we are trying to disprove and prove. We have assistance from the original group of investigators. There's a lot of documentation to go through, but there is no doubt that a High Court would have convicted Van Rooyen and Joey Harthoff of the crimes concerned where these girls are concerned. There was enough forensic evidence, fingerprint evidence, clothing, etc., found in this house and positively identified by forensic investigators to prove that they were in fact the responsible people here.
And Mr. Chandler, you said that 5 of the girls at the time, through your investigations, were positively linked to Gert van Rooyen.
Yes, that's correct, they were. There's no doubt in my mind, there would never be a doubt in a High Court judge or anyone in the public's field, if they had to have a look at the evidence that's available in the documents.
Just to remind our viewers, some have forgotten, some don't even know this story. This story starts in the late 80s, when these little girls randomly disappear from different parts of the country, KZN, Kempton Park, here in Pretoria, and nobody knows where the children are. But there's that one girl who escapes, and she actually becomes the link that gives the police the lead to Gert van Rooyen.
That's correct. She did a very good job of memorizing what happened to her. Her evidence is straightforward, and to a T she could describe her abductors. She identified them correctly, and she was definitely taken by them. Very brave girl to escape like that, and it blew the lid off quite a hell of a sensitive case.
But your investigations perhaps also show, as you said, that the 6 girls that we know may not have been the only ones.
Yes, that's correct. We must go back into history there. Gert van Rooyen was already declared a pedophile in 1979 in Pretoria when he abducted 2 young girls of the age of 10 and 13 years old from the Escort Club. He was a prominent member at that club and at various other clubs in Pretoria. And from there, he was in prison for 4 years. He served 3 years of his term. In 1983, he came out of prison. In 1984, he bought this house here. And we don't know what he did for 5 years. We've had members of the public come forward, women, children, that have confirmed that he attempted to abduct them or that he committed various indecent crimes with them for which they never came forward or opened cases for that time. So he's got a vast history of this type of offences. And then he met Joey Haroff in the end of 1988. And then it looked like they became the super team with the abductions. I don't know what hold he had over her or if she was just bad to the core like he was. And I feel there were a lot of people that came here that partied with these people in the week. There were a lot of people that he was linked with that still have not come forward to the public with any information. And we are still carrying on at our own cost. We want to find those links, and we need more information of his core group of friends. There are other various things which I'll mention to you just now, if you give me a chance, that I would like to bring to the public's attention. And I would like them to contact us. We will be able to give you later on the WhatsApp number and the email address that they can send the information to us. They must remember we will keep them anonymous, but we would really appreciate any input from the public from that period of time.
Talking about the links and some of the people that may have been, implicated in this matter, there has been so many reports and rumors that Gert van Rooyen may have worked hand in glove with certain prominent political figures at the time linked to the National Party. And we know that there are names that were even published in books that have been written. Is there perhaps a linking in your investigations, the current investigations, that also, put the spotlight on these National Party figures?
I would say certain of the people that have been mentioned in the past have been mentioned, but there's actually no proof that we have obtained up to this date that they are involved. But there are definitely rumors from various sources and various members of the public that they did know each other.
All right. We'll have to leave it at that right now. Don, of course, Chandler there, he is a part of the private investigative team that continues to keep the story alive. But let's turn to perhaps one of the parents of the 6 missing girls. And this is the parent of Odette Boucher. She was 11 years old at the time. And this is Mr. George Boucher. And I think really, one has to draw strength from you. It's 30 years and you still haven't given up.
I don't think we'll ever give up as far as searching for these girls. If any of them are out there, they must know that we love them. And it's important to us to find closure at the end of the day. It's been a heck of an investigation. Don Chandler has given you some brief sort of information as far as that is concerned. And we as parents are very grateful to people like Don and others that assist him in trying to find the answer to this. Obviously, if there's anybody out there that's still got information, our implore them to go to Don and give them information so that we can find some closure to this case.
What has been your secret to hope and just keeping strong?
There's only one secret to this, and that's being close to God all the time. I think He's put people on our path that carries us from time to time. It becomes very difficult, and sometimes you sit and you think, is this ever going to stop? But then He's put people on my path that actually has given me a lot of support, which I'm greatly grateful for.
Just lastly, before we give back to studio, as a parent, what does this day mean for you in remembrance of your daughter and the other girls?
This is actually very, very awesome that there's people willing to do this for us, and I must give my appreciation to those people as well. I've never met quite a number of them. Some of the people I've met, some I've only met today, and it's a grateful heart that I'm standing here and knowing that my child was here and that they are prepared to put up a memorial for the remembrance of these kids. And words are not enough to say how grateful we really are for this action from their side. And to the rest of South Africa, thank you very much for your support.
Thank you so much there, Mr. George Boucher. He is the father of 11-year-old Odette Boucher, who is part of the 6 missing girls who went missing in the late 80s. Of course, this right here being the house that police investigations have, of course, pinned out as where back then, the pedophile Gert van Rooyen had, of course, kept the children. But I think the painful part remains the fact that no one knows, and we still continue to ask the question, what happened to these children? Could it be that they might just still be alive and they are out there somewhere? And if they are watching this, and if somebody is watching this right now, then I think this is the time, 30 years on, to do the right thing and come forward with that information and just give these parents a glimpse of hope again and closure in terms of what happened to their children. We'll come back to you a little bit later and give you perhaps the live coverage as this memorial behind me will be officially unveiled in memory of the 6 girls who went missing. For now, it's back to you in studio.
Lest we forget Patricia Visagie there.